It's been a while since I made a video. I don't think last time had any good results. They wound up shutting down the page, I guess, because they didn't like what I had to say. Seems to be a trend these days. I'm not making this video pretty much directed at politicians, anybody in government or law enforcement, because the way things are going today, it appears, man, all is at a loss. I mean, we just lost our humanity. You know, right here in my county the other day, we had this big protest because they had transgender story hour at the bookstore, where little kids can sit and listen to a transgender talk about, you know, how they possibly could be a boy or a girl. The insanity of this country right now, the state of insanity is just beyond reason. I can't wrap my head around it. And I'm just wondering, am I alone in what I'm thinking, what I'm saying? You know, because what I'm thinking of is what I know a lot of my friends are thinking of. A lot of my customers are thinking of. Their grandchildren, their kids, their future. You know, when I was a kid, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Islam and issues with all these things, they seem to always have been a lingering thing. But, you know, I think back when I was younger, you know, how it was and how it is now. I just can't wrap my head around. I just can't wrap my head around it. I just can't. I don't know where we dropped the ball, but it's evident where we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball because, you know, the government that we entrust, these people, have been able to position themselves and be infiltrated by all these sick, perverted, evil-minded, disgusting people of this world that desire this insane fantasy world they live in. You know, and it's big. It's obviously pretty big. I mean, and when you look at it and you realize who we are as a nation, I know this younger generation doesn't get it, but I'm not talking to them either, because we know they have been deprived, clearly, of proper education. School system's failing greatly. I mean, it's just unreal, these kids, on how ignorant they are to the truth of matters. I mean, it's just, I was watching a video last week, and a girl was on a college campus asking about, you know, history questions, and she was questioning one of the black American girls that was at this college, and she asked her about the Civil War, and she thought it was in 1965. Said she was in her second year at college. She thought the Civil War was 1965. Several of the people she spoke to couldn't tell who won the war. And these are college level students. I mean, so, I mean, for somebody, like, I get people, they say, oh, it's maybe a conspiracy theory, you know, your imagination's running wild. No, I work 3 counties in my business. I talk to young kids all the time in stores when I stop, and at gas stations and things, and I just pop those in. I'm telling you what, these kids have no clue. And the scary thing about that is for me, when I see the level and how far out it's gone, which I'm sure many like me are thinking, this is the future. These are the people who are going to be protecting mine and your grandchildren, securing their freedom and liberty. These ignorant, undereducated, totally unaware youth of this posterity is going to be what we have to count on to protect our grandchildren, our own family's posterity, us, ours. I'm 53 years old this year. You know, that's not too old in these times. I mean, but I'm still in pretty good shape. I'm able to hold my own. So, you know, I'm a working contractor. I do construction. I'm good. But I know in 20 years, these kids aren't going to have a clue. And it's pretty clear. I mean, all of us have to come to terms and realize what's going on here. You know, what this is it's a world movement on America. It's the same movement that's been. I mean, we're 242 years new in this world. We're one of the youngest established nations in the world. When you look at something like, you know, China, 10,000-year history. You look at the Islamic states, 1,400 plus years these people have been doing this. You know, Paris, France, Britain, England, these are nations that have been around for thousands of years. We're 242 years new. And we're the end result of the first people to form a nation that walks away from totalitarianism, monarchies, kings, queens, and elite rulers, of dictators and emperors. We were the first nation to break away and successfully be able to form a nation truly free. Kind of off the principles of even what's go back to like the 16 and 1500s with the Magna Carta of free men. You know, it's been a thing that what we did is a thing hated by the world, because the majority of the world around us, that's what they are, dictators, kings, queens, emperors, demigods, just idiots that rule by totalitarian means, and where they control their people in every aspect of their life. They keep them dumbed down. Like, I mean, and we here, we think, and this posterity, our posterity thinks the whole world outside around America is like America. That's the problem. You see, they haven't been informed about what it's really like out there in this world. You know, I watched last week about the two girls that went over to take a stand for, you know, what they call their coexist movement, and they went to Morocco to show how you can coexist with the Muslims. And these two young girls over there wound up being brutally raped and videoed as they got their heads cut off by the Muslims. You know, and the Muslims made clear to why they're doing it. It's because, you know, that's what the Quran tells them to do. That's what their ideology tells them to do. That's what the governing authority of the Islamic states, of their culture, tells them to do. It's been this way for 1,400 years. Nothing's ever changed. And this is the topic I have to focus on at first, because this is the biggest threat. You know, this is the biggest threat. When I was a kid in the city shining shoes, this was a threat then. In my time back then, we had the issues of Muhammad Ali, who was Cassius Clay, converting to Islam, and through him and Malcolm X and you know, Farrakhan, they were bringing Islam into America. And you know, in those days, it was very rejected. If a Muslim was a Muslim in those days, he better hide it, because in those days, everybody was aware that these people were allied to the Nazis, that they aided and assisted Hitler in an attempted genocide of the Jews. They were one of the biggest financing factors of the World War II for Hitler. You know, and we forget too, you know, that we had World War I, which was the Ottoman Muslim Empire. Matter of fact, you know, just in brief, I mean, I'm trying not to go into too much detail. If you want to know, you can just go to my Facebook page. I have a history I keep trying to put up to wake people up to understand what we're really dealing with here. But, you know, in day-to-day in life, I'm at a point now where I'm just watching, and I'm seeing all that's going on. And as the days go by, even though we have President Trump now trying to do so much good for this country at the federal level, and granted, there has been a lot of change, and that's evident. There's no doubt about it. But the other thing is, when we look at the media and we look at the news outlets and we look at the political realm of the Democrats, it's insanity. It's total insanity. You know, their fear to me is clear. One, we have to realize, like now, we have 2 members in our Congress that are Muslims. Now we have 2 more representatives that have just recently been sworn in as Muslims. And I know right now I can hear the liberals and the Democrats, oh, this guy's a racist. I'm not a racist, because Islam's not a race. It's a government ideology. It's a totalitarian ideology of rule. Okay? And they'll take any race. They don't care. Any fool who's willing to convert to Islam, they'll take you. They don't care what color you are, what race you are, what nationality you are, what part of the world you come from. So it's not a racist issue. It's an ideology issue. And then you'll want to say to me, well, you're discriminating religion. Well, in a sense, I have no choice. I have no choice. On my webpage, you can see I have posted video where them themselves tell you how the church and state are the same. And, when you realize that, here in America, the Catholic Church isn't mentioned in our Constitution. Christian Church isn't. Buddha's not mentioned. Judaism's not mentioned in our Constitution. But in Islam, it is the Constitution. The Quran is the Constitution of Arabia, Iran, Morocco. These Islamic states that are run and organized by the ideology of the Islamic government, the Constitution and the Sharia law is their constitution and national law of their Islamic states. This is a foreign country, one that's totalitarian, because their religion is the only religion allowed within their Islamic states once they become the majority dominant. And all have to abide by what the rules are, as those of the elite who make the rules lay them out to be. We don't seem to understand the difference to what's going on here. Now, I don't oppose to freedom of religion of anybody. If you want to worship a rock, that's your problem. You can go ahead and do that. I myself claim no religion. I have a great relationship with God. Okay, I'm an American. I believe in nature's God and the natural order of nature's laws, what we built this country on. Religion, to me, is a cultural practice and where people try to keep in line with what they believe God would want them to do. So they establish their religions and they live by, whatever they develop as their practices. But in America, those religions have no influence on my rights that are protected in the Constitution, guaranteed to me by God. You see, but in Islam, that's not the way it is. You see, and anybody who's, Islam's not something new to me, trust me. And back in the 80s, I had circumstances out of my control, had to exist for near 2 years in a majority population of Muslims. I know Islam very well. Not to mention growing up on the streets of Newark, I remember the gangs of the 5%er Islam Nation. I remember all the issues going on then with the Nazi skinheads. And, you kids today, you all think this is new. This has been ongoing for a long time. We had great concern of it after World War II about the Nazis and the communists infiltrating our nation and, doing exactly what we see happening today. What we were warned about by the people of the 50s, that this would happen if we did not pay attention, if we lost sight of who we are as the people and our responsibility as the people to govern, self-govern. You see, our government today is acting outside of its authority and powers consented to by us, the people. Maybe not all, because right now a lot of them have no clue. But as far as I understand it, as far as I know, by the actual history, the law, the Constitution, of which I'm an American, I know my rights, I know my Constitution, because I grew up a city kid, and when I became aware of that I was an American, it was important to me to understand what that meant. And in life, I've been blessed with such great people. Living in Florida, I have come across veterans from every war, from World War II forward. I have friends who I went to high school with that went off into the military, and they were active duty in, Desert Storm, the Iraqi wars, the Iranian wars, and I listen to them. I listen to the old people from World War II. I've had thousands, and I'm literally telling you the truth, the thousands that I've heard their story. And I've had the great blessing of having the opportunity to hear the story of more than 5 Holocaust survivors and what it was like, what they went through. They had the tattoo. I was, my son, in teaching him history, my oldest son, he had studied history, and he even speaks fluent Russian, because in his study of it, he wanted to be able to understand it from, I guess, really understand it. So he learned to speak Russian, or German, rather, German, so he could understand exactly what they were saying in movies or anything like that where it was in German, so he could understand it. He speaks fluent German, but one of the biggest things I had with him in history, what I knew his fascination with it, was I got to take him one day to a customer of mine's house who was a Holocaust survivor, and watch him sit and speak with her in German, and her share a little bit of her story with him. And I think he remembers that to this day. But my message to everybody right now, which I think I'm going to have to continue doing something to make some kind of outreach. But right now in this one, I mean, my concern is what's happening with this government. And I'm not speaking to the government. I'm speaking to us, me, you, people, anybody who's online with me that has an understanding of what I'm saying. Because I know, we're all strapped. We're out there right now, just like me. There's not much I can do. I'm trapped. I'm trapped with trying to pay the bills, trying to keep the business going, coming back through this, now emerging great economy, and trying to get things back to, the wheels turning to where I'm secure and I can actually maybe take some time to like I'm doing now. It's the time I get to take. My spare time on a Sunday, I'm going to spend trying to reach us, the people. Because we have to do something. And we can't rely on these people. The law now, and understand this, the law, as it's been said many times throughout history, is as strong as the paper it's written on if no one honors it. Understand that. And right now, these people that we're entrusting, they have the power of the pen to write the law. And whenever we raise an issue or we have a protest, because we have that right, they just write a law that allows them to do whatever we're protesting. And that's how weak it's gotten. They could just, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to write a law. You can't do that. It's politically incorrect. We're going to write this law. You can't do that. And we're all sitting back. And while we're sitting back, you got these perverts going around in these bookstores now, confounding and grooming our youth in this country. You've got the news with all these mentally ill people reading scripts. These people aren't reporters like back in my day. Back when I was younger, I remember reporters actually went out there and got the real story. These people are sitting on a stage reading scripts. They're all part of puppetry inside the agenda of what they're trying to push as normal on this generation of the posterity. And this generation of the posterity is buying it. I mean, how many people, it's amazing because I talk to people on a daily basis going around 3 counties that I cover, and it amazes me that so many people my age are unaware that they no longer teach our children in school cursive writing. Think about that. Are you aware? Are you aware that they no longer teach our children, not just in certain, across the nation, they no longer teach the children cursive writing? You might say, well, what's the big deal with that? Well, every founding document of history in this country, everything that establishes this country to be what it is written in cursive writing. If our kids can't read and write cursive writing, they can't read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. They can't read any of the letters of the delegates that took place back in that time. They can't read any of the letters of correspondence between the presidents of any of the wars that established this country, any of the treaties that were made. They won't be able to read any of it because back in those days, we didn't have inkjet printers. Everything was done by handwriting in cursive writing. And that's why it's important, because history is important. Some people today want to say, the Constitution's old. Well, some things get old. I get it. Some things get old and they're outdated. But the Constitution's not old because it's a document that was the end result of near 13,000 years of American history. Not American history, but world history. That document was the end result of 13,000 years of tyrants ruling the world, dictators ruling the world, demigods ruling the world, and beating people down and holding humanity down and just enslaving humanity. And the founders of this country had a good understanding of that long world history. They had the clearer view. We see it in a book. They actually were living in it, watching it, seeing it go on with the slavery, the tyranny, the harsh and cruel and outlandish punishments of people with stretching people and cutting their heads off and their hands off and, just hanging them all over the place and burning them alive and whatever. I mean, it was just people were insane in those times, and world rulers were the cause of it. You see, this is the thing. And today it's self-evident that the practice of what totalitarianisms do is that they create the issue, they incite the issue, then present themselves as the solution to it. And this goes on and on and on throughout history. I mean, it's pretty self-evident. It's clear for anybody who takes the time to see it. History is important too, but our kids today, this generation, they don't even know when the Civil War was. They don't know nothing about this country's founding, establishment, or the Constitution, or their rights, or the Declaration of Independence. They don't know nothing about what brought about this country to be. In fact, the idiot kids of this generation, they're actually in favor right now of the very people who we separated from. And even with this issue with the wall, and the Democrats and all about, America, give us your, we'll take people who want to become here and become Americans. But let me tell you one thing right now I understand in fact about the Declaration of Independence. It was not an all you come here document that founded this country. In fact, the Declaration of Independence was a document of total separation from all the world. We pretty much told all the world, we want nothing to do with any of you if you don't agree with what we want to do as free men. You see, that document was not a everybody's welcome document. It was a everybody's not welcome document but us. That's what this country was founded on, by the true principles of free men as Americans. We were not founded on a everybody just come here and be what you want to be. Okay? That's BS. That's not right. That's not true. We have laws right now in the Immigration and Nationality Act that if followed, we would not have the issues we have right now. And mind you, I know there's got to be other people totally aware of this. Do you understand that since 2002, actually go back to 1993 on the first World Trade Center attack, okay, and then the second that happened in 2001, which, when you combine them all together since 1993 to date, of what we know of in relation to Islam, on our own American ground, for the first time in history, Americans were killed by a foreign enemy on our own ground through a planned attack on our own ground, of which this government allowed them to come in and do. And still are. They're protecting them to be here. And these people aren't hiding their agenda. They're outright spoken, clearly telling us they're coming here to overthrow this country and instill their Islamic rule. And that they want their Islamic foreign nations law, Sharia, right here in our country. They're not hiding it. And the government that we entrust are going along with this because, you know what? They have a lot of oil money, these people, and they're padding the pockets of these ignorant, stupid, undereducated people that we're allowed. Look at this idiot that they just put up in New York. I mean, you got to be kidding me. This girl went to college in economics. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? If you can't see in her, I mean, and then even like you want to look at some idiocy, look at Hank Johnson. Look at this representative, Hank Johnson. Look up Hank Johnson's concerns about Guam capsizing. You want to see stupid. And then understand, this man is a bar-certified attorney, was an appeals judge for 5 years, and he's that stupid. And you'll start to realize that not all of them are stupid. There's some very smart, communist, Nazi-minded scumbags who are controlling all this. And people like Hank Johnson, Nancy Pelosi, and even Elijah Cummings, another idiot, okay, these people are all intentionally placed by them, given the perks. You know, these are like the Uncle Toms of the slave days. You know, that, the master gave privilege to keep the rest under control. And if you don't think that's going on today, you're an idiot. Okay, and then even like real quick, I wanna just end this, but I'm gonna pick up on another one, and I'm gonna keep talking about this because I need to know. I want to hear from how many people out there are like me, concerned for their grandkids, their children, the future of this country. Are you awake? I just need to know how many of us have had it. Because I'm there. I've had it. I've had it. I've had it. I'm looking at my grandson, my granddaughter, and my kids and their future. And I know in 20 years I'll be too old and ass to do anything about it. But I'm able to now. I'm able to now. If it has to come down to it. And I can tell you right now, I know a lot of military people. I've been in business 35 years here in Florida. I know a lot of people. I've been down here a long time, and I've been around in many different states doing many different things. I know a lot of people. And the majority of those who are sheriffs, true constitutional American sheriffs, they're agreeing with me. A lot of them who are even LEO of incorporated police that don't like the way it's going, they agree with me. And pretty much, the majority of all of our military are agreeing with me. I know that because when I talk to these people, they agree. They agree. And I know in the majority of people, when you look at the news seems to be, I know a lot of you are probably sometimes in the same boat like me. I sit back sometimes and I go, must be just me, maybe, because the news makes it appear like everybody's on board with this. But I cover 3 counties, and I talk to lots and lots of people. I'm an air conditioner contractor, so in the summertime, I'm busy. I literally can see up to sometimes 300 people a week. Okay, and I have been a long established here, and I know lots of people all in the area here. Like for 3-4 counties, I've been here for a long time. I know thousands of people. And I talk to them, and I got news for you. The consensus I get in the real world from real parents, real people who are concerned about their children, does not align with what the fake news is telling us. And I travel too. I have family in Jersey. I have family in Georgia. And I get around and I talk to people when I'm around. I go to other states and the consensus is the same everywhere. Nobody that I come across, maybe one in like 100, I might once in a while come across some that agrees with it. But even with that person, if I dose them with truth, they're silenced. They're silenced because they're ignorant. They don't even know. They don't even know. I want to close this too with a quick example. Just a quick example. 2 weeks ago, I was in Walmart, had an issue because I was wearing a Trump 2020 hat. Okay, and a guy had an issue with me on my hat. And I said to him, really, you got a problem with it? And, oh, it's racist. You're a racist. You're this, you're that. And I said, I'm a racist. So I take it, I said, I'm normally either independent or Republican. I don't care for the Democrats. I said, but I'm taking it you're a Democrat. Yeah, he said, yeah, I'm a Democrat. So I said to him, so you're a Democrat and you're calling me a racist, really? He said, yeah, I think, and that hat's offensive. And I said, really, this hat represents a Republican. You're a Democrat. You represent the Confederate slave states. How am I a racist when your party was the ones who fought in the Civil War to protect the rights of slavery and keep people enslaved? Your party was the founding of protecting the slave states on slavery and racism. You were the people, the Democrats, you were the people in the Civil War. That was the Democratic Party, was the South Confederate slave states. The Republicans were the North Free Republic. We fought for equality. We fought on the basis and the principles of what we founded in our Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Okay, and that meant everybody. But you, the Democrats, didn't think black people were a part of everybody. Not the Republicans. The Democrats didn't believe that the black people were a part of everybody. They're the ones who felt black people, everybody but black people should have been slaves according to the Democrats. That's what they fought that war over, was to maintain and secure the rights of slave owners. Okay, and he said to me, no, that and I said, let me ask you something. What was Abraham Lincoln? Was he a Republican or a Democrat? And he said he was a Democrat. This just goes to show you, this guy's he was probably about 27, maybe 30 tops. Just to show you how ignorant this generation is. He thinks Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. And I said, no, Abraham Lincoln was the first actual Republican of the new United States of America. And, I told him, I said, Jefferson Davis there was only one time in history, which we can't forget, that there was 2 presidents and 2 vice presidents sitting in a divided nation, and where we had the Democratic Confederate slave states of the South and the Republic of the Republican Party free United States of the North. Now, a lot of people want to make it about the North and the South, and the Democrats are famous for wanting to keep this between the North and the South, the slave states, the free states. They don't want to mention the political parties, but the truth of the matter is, the people who are in favor of slavery and oppression of people, who wanted to overthrow the free republic and reestablish, and also, mind you, at that time we had the Constitution, they wanted to abolish the Constitution and create a democracy here, was the Democrats. And they're still at it today. They lost that war. Okay, we won that war. And it's been a long battle. And even like today, I have, black Americans that I'm friends with, and we talk. and I watch them. Some of them have shows on here I enjoy, and I listen to them. And sometimes I'll put my 2 cents out there, and they give me back their 2 cents, and we go back and forth. And one of them is a guy in Georgia. I really like him. I like him because I can tell his heart is really not in hate of what it is. It's more of an instilled thing, and I believe he has a good heart, and he can get past what it is, because I've seen people like him before. He's genuine in his love with God. I hope I'm right on it. I'm pretty sure I am, and I've gotten to meet some good people through him as well too. So and they seem to hold high standards for him as well. So I have faith in that. But I know, like in speaking with him, he has a lot of things where he's why it takes so long, and it's like somebody who like me who's just fascinated with world history and culture. I've been studying for 35 years, and just it's just the way I am. I'm a nerd. Most people aren't not aware unless you really know me. I'm a freaking nerd. But back in those days, one thing like to him I want to have, in case he sees this, understand something, Gov. When you ask how long, why 50 years? Let me tell you something. To have somebody ride from New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Philadelphia to go down to Georgia and talk to somebody, that took almost a year on horseback. So you're talking a 2-year trip just to get a message back and forth. You got to realize they didn't have cars back then. They didn't have planes back then. They didn't have phones back then. You wanted to tell somebody something, you wrote it on paper, you gave it to a guy, you rode a horse, for 8 months down to Georgia to give it to somebody, and then they would write something, and then 8 months back, so it'd be almost 2 years. So when you're saying, sometimes to get one issue resolved could result in, time and messages go back and forth, a decade could easily pass. 50 years was, when you look at the reality of the mode of transportation back in that time compared to today, what we can accomplish today in a matter of 2-3 days could be accomplished then in 2-3 years. Think about that. That's why it took so long, and that's why it was able to result as it did, because the slack in the time or whatever, we all knew. I mean, like when you had like Abraham Lincoln trying to reason with these people and he sent something down, we knew already to start building the army, because we knew that when they got that letter, the messenger guy got there 6-7 months later, Jefferson Davis was going to be like, no, it's not. And he was going to write a dirty letter back, and eventually we knew this war was coming. It was a buildup. It was coming. Because, in the northern states, we were abolishing slavery. It was all from the get-go. In 1777, the first state to abolish slavery was Vermont, okay, followed by New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. The northern colonies, it became because everybody wanted it abolished. Those are the true founding that believed in America. It was the southern states who still stayed loyal to that of the British rule and the British ways and the old ways, a Democrat. They took to the democratic way of governing. That's what the South did, those down the South, and they succeeded from our Union, and that's what resulted in the Civil War. But it was a buildup that took near 40 years for that to happen. And I know you go, 40, 50 years. It's well, back then, if I was Abraham Lincoln, I wanted to get a message to Jefferson Davis, I'd send a guy on a horse. He'd go take a ride, and I'll hear back from him next December. He'll let me know what Davis said, and then I could read what he said and then reply. And probably 4 or 5 years we might get a point to where we agree on something. You understand? That's how it was back then. Today's a lot different. And you would think with today's advancement in technology and as far as we come, we wouldn't be in this damn shape as we are today, because we have the ability, like now what I'm doing, to communicate with each other. But we're not. We're all sitting inventing online, but we're not doing a goddamn thing real. Nothing real is happening, and it's just getting out of control. So I just want to know, go to my page. Those who know me, you know me. You know what's on my page. And those who know me in real life, you know me. You know what I know. I know. I'm not questioning the people I know. But I'm just saying, how many, from anybody who's seeing this, are with me? How many get it? How many understand what's going on? And how many know we got to do something? Because, there's a lot of people asking me, how many? Pretty much we want to know, how many do we have? How many are willing to step up? Because right now, we have the federal government on our side. Donald Trump is with us. The majority of sheriffs are with us. And in looking at the way things are deteriorating in this country, and the way that we're being infiltrated by foreign interests that are not in the best interest of our posterity, our children, and our future of this nation, we have to eventually come to a one-minded view of all of us together and understand that we can't trust what we have right now. Because, I mean, the federal level is doing okay under Trump, but state levels are still as corrupt as can be. What you see right now going on with many of the issues and matters are involved with state level, local government, and these departments are so far out of touch with reality. Local authorities with police departments have incorporated city police and such. These people are so far out of reality to what their department was even established for, or what their job is in the political sphere of what they're supposed to be doing. They themselves don't even know. They just think of themselves. They're self-appointed authorities. Like, you know, they just think they're it. They're the bomb. Everybody's got to listen to them. They don't understand that that's not the way it was established. And, you know, the things that are going on in a bigger sphere with gun regulations and slowly trying to eat away, which I have some members I can see on their posts, they're getting very concerned, former military, very concerned about what's going on in the attack on the Second Amendment. So I just need to know. If this video gets out, I just want to know, not just in the state of Florida, Jersey, or people who know me in Georgia and, you know, Tennessee and South Carolina and all the way out as far as Texas or whatever. I want to know the whole country. If you get to see this, how many understand what I'm saying? How many people know we need to do something? And, you know, just a comment. I'm with you. I don't care. I just want a number that I can say to other people across pretty much the state of our small minority that we're all reviewing this together, and we're all looking, and we're all keeping in touch with those of new government coming in that we know are good, honorable, valued morals of American values, true Americans. They want to know too. They want to know, like, who are we? How many are we? Where are we? So I'm just saying, let me know. And I'm going to keep doing these videos, and we're going to touch base. I just want to get this one out. I just got to do it. I just got to do it, so I'm doing it. So if you see this and you have concern for our country, and you understand where I'm coming from, and you view my Facebook page and you agree with what's on that page, I just want to. I'm with you. And I'm gonna take it from doing posts on Facebook to try and do these videos and make a little more sense about where I'm going and present a little more facts and evidence and things of supporting that make it clear that we need to do something. We need to do something. We need to do it now. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I hope everybody has a great Sunday. And God bless America. God bless our president. You know, and God bless all true, moral, valued Americans. And I just want to know: am I alone? Are we alone? I have a pretty good sized group that I know feels like me, but I just want to know: are we it, or how many are with us? How many are really? You know, because I know you're all like me. You might only have this Sunday to say something because you're working and you're trying to just make ends meet. And you're trying to do the right thing, and you're trying to finance this country for this new president to be able to keep things moving forward. And you're trying to do your part. I get it. We all are. But we have to, at some point, realize we're going to have to take the time to take our place as Americans to really fix this. So Sundays is a good day. So I'll do this on Sundays. I'm going to give up my Sundays to try and do this. I just ask you to pay attention. Let me know where we're at. Because, you know, with the technology we got today, it's going to take me 8 months to reach you on a horseback. I can just pop a video. We can talk on social media. We can form a group or whatever it takes. There's many of them out there I'm part of. Some of them have 50,000 members in those groups. So, but you know, there's a lot of people, and we know that they're just, you know, they don't even really grasp the reality of what's going on. You know, I see that. There's a very small minority of people that it appears to me in the online groups that are really, you know, they get it. They get it. And the majority, it's a game. It's just a ploy of a passing of time, you know, and something to make of interest of the day. My kids are not a short passing interest of the day. My grandchildren are not. a short interest of passing of the day, their future means something to me. And I'm sure there's many people out there feel the same and have the same concerns. I just want to know. I just want to know how many, you can look at me, you can tell, I know. I want to know how many see that face in the mirror of concern. And I can tell you right now to any Muslim or any corrupt government out there, don't take that face as weakness, because it's not. It's not a fear of what happens to me. It's not a fear of what happens to me. It's a fear of what's going to happen to my grandson and my granddaughter, my nieces and my nephews, my family. Me, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about what me. It's them I'm worried about. And this is, God, if I can't do something to protect them, that's what I'm worried about. So whatever it takes, I just need to know how many are with me, how many are looking in the mirror right now feeling like me. So let me know. Have a great Sunday, and I'll see you on the next video.